Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Tommo and welcome to my pre-race Chinwag for the 2024 Austin Grand Prix. How have we enjoyed this little 3-week break? It's not felt very little, has it? I'm fully out of it doesn't even feel like there's going to be an F1 race this weekend. Genuinely. I've not yet got into it. Hopefully this pre-race Chinwag is going to be the start of me actually being able to comprehend that there's an F1 race happening this weekend. One that's happening quite late UK time, of course, because we are in Austin, we are in Texas. Welcome everyone here live in the chat. Sella, Vroom Vroom, Ollie, Tina, Alexander, Simbrew, Christopher, Topi, Cece, and Charmander, Stella, Vance, and the rest. Thank you all for joining me. And thank you to everyone who's listening to this after the fact, be that on Spotify, be that on Apple Podcasts, be that wherever you consume your podcast. Spotify is a video version as well. Also, quite excited to finally, because this has been a long time coming. I've had this set up in the back end for, I want to say, almost like 2 years, definitely over a year. Definitely not 2 years. I've got a Patreon now. So if you want to support me on YouTube, like some of you already do, for £2 a month, you can continue to do that on the soft tier membership. And then on Patreon, I have a couple of extra tiers. Going to do a Patreon exclusive live stream after this one is complete. Patreon.com/TommoF1. Links in the description. If you want to check that out and support what I do, then you're more than welcome to. Thank you. Yaramir, big up. Member number 1, exactly. Yaramir's already on it on Patreon. Big up, Yaramir. Thank you very much. Super soft and hyper soft halve. Look, maybe in time when we build out the Tommo empire, independent, because I would love to build this in such a way that I'm not as because AdSense, of course, is a big part of my income through YouTube, but also sponsorships and hopefully Squarespace will sponsor me forever, but they might not. So there we go. Right. Oh, Fenrir, I'm happy to hear that. I'm not going to recite what you just said in the live chat. But anyway, enough of the shameless shilling of myself. Let's talk Austin, shall we? Round 19, 2024. Keeps trying to say 23, man. Time's going too quickly. Every single time I do one of these streams, I almost say 2023, but it's not 2023. That was a long time ago. It's almost 2025 now. How is it almost 2025? Jesus, you're an ultra soft Tommo supporter. Well, look, listen, that works for me. That works for me. Welcome to getting older. Oh, ain't that the truth, Max? Ain't that the truth? But yes, Max, talking of Max, has quite the reputation around COTA, does he not, in Formula One? And we're back at what I would call, it's definitely a top 5 track for me, COTA. I think it encapsulates, it's got so much character. I think as a total venue for modern Formula One, you've got the width, which allows these cars to go side by side. You've got that, almost think of it like in a Trackmania, you call like an identity in a track, something that makes the track really stand out. It's the thing that you look for in that track. And Austin's got a few, but I'd say turn 1 up the hill. It's such an opportunity to make moves. It's such an opportunity to switch back and defend as well. I was watching through the highlights of the sprint and the feature race last time out. And you're going to get some wheel-to-wheel shenanigans going on. And as the field has closed up somewhat since this time last year, you've got to think maybe we're on for something pretty good. Turn 1's fantastic. It's got the S's, the Suzuka-style S's, but in Austin's own way. I'm sure everyone's seen the edit of Charles Leclerc doing his quali lap at like dusk. And then it cuts to Max Verstappen at Brazil with the dark and the skyfall in the background. If you haven't, try and find that edit because it's cold. It is very cold. I'm ready for a safety car. Seamus. Yeah, we've not had one because we didn't get one for the Perez science incident, did we? So it's been a long time, an awful long time since we've had a safety car in Formula One. And obviously, hopefully everyone's fine and safe, but also a safety car, for some, some technical unreliability or something, certainly throws a spanner in the works, which would be, look, I think it's been exciting as of late. Generally speaking, there's been, of course, a few. I mean, Lando's been the one, Zandvoort, dominant, Singapore, he was clear as well. But yeah, I think generally speaking, we've been eating pretty good in F1, right, as of late. Pretty good in F1. as of late. Is it 9 races since the last safety car? 9. Wow. Mad. Crazy. But yes, what happened last time out anyway, to reflect, because we had a sprint and we had a feature last time out. We have the same this time out. So 1 FP1 for a certain Mr. Liam Lawson, for him to get on top of this V carbohydrate, which, you know, he's not coming from zero experience. So I reckon he'll be okay this weekend. I don't think that'll be a massive problem. Liam's also taken a grid drop, by the way, which is very sensible, right? It's a sprint, it's a feature. You know, let him take a grid drop, take that pressure off of him, and enable him to maximise that FP1 session and the sprint quality and the sprint shootout, of course, as well. As a Kiwi, I am pumped. I bet you are. I bet you are. Hello, Helita. Welcome. But yeah, last time out, Max did the job, made his way through. He got his lap time deleted, didn't he, in normal qualifying for track limits. So started P6, but made his way through. Finished ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Lewis was looking, you know, he was looking potentially dangerous at one point to fight for the lead. But unfortunately for him and Charles Leclerc, the Ferrari boys, and that was a cold picture as well, what Lewis posted after, him and Charles both got disqualified for their skid blocks. Too much wear on the skid blocks. And that was a decent little image as well. But yeah, last time out, this was Max's all over. But will that be the case this time? That is the big question, isn't it? Will this update to the Red Bull enable Max to drive it to a level that he can win, or that he just consistently finish up there, right? Because as much as, yes, if Max always finishes P2 and Lando wins all the races, Max will still win the championship. That the chance of that is incredibly unlikely. Max just needs enough to be consistent enough to be up there enough. Because I think Charles will take points off of Lando and Max. I think George and Lewis can take points off of Lando and Max. I think Carlos can. And obviously Oscar. Can Oscar pull it out? Because that's the thing, right? If Lando is going to go and dominate the rest of this season in the same way that Max dominated the start of this year, you know, Oscar's going to be the deciding factor as to whether Max wins or Lando wins, you know. I'm going to do a quick poll for everyone who's here live on YouTube. I'm only going to give you 2 options. We've had 3 weeks to sit on it. Who's winning the championship? Is it Max or is it Lando? My opinion has not changed since I last spoke about it, but I'm not going to say what that is. I'm not going to remind you because I don't want to influence the vote subconsciously, because I know, you know, I'm in there. I'm in your head, right? The influence is strong with this one. Let me know if you have to put money on it. You can't say, oh, I don't know. If you've got to put money on it, right, you have to make a choice between one or the other, Max or Lando, who's winning the championship this year. There's decent arguments both ways. The thing is, it ultimately comes down to, I think, the team more than the driver, right? I think if the team are able to turn this Red Bull, not turn it around, that's too extreme, but turn a corner with this Red Bull and open up this, understanding of, right, this is how we need to set these cars up. For most of the Grand Prix have typically suited the Red Bull in the past, you know, Austin, Mexico, Sao Paulo. It's only really Vegas that I'm a little bit concerned for the Red Bull. Max is the best driver in F1, right? As far as I'm concerned, that's for me, that's pretty clear. And so it's going to be whether you have faith that Red Bull can sort out this balance issue, this setup issue that they're not able to get on top of, because there is only FP1. Remember, this is a sprint weekend, so they're not going to have loads of time to really understand this update. Can they do a McLaren and bring something new to the car and it immediately hits? Or are they going to do an Aston Martin where they just bring stuff and it just does nothing? And, you know, Red Bull don't have a top-of-the-line simulator. When they had the new E brain, maybe that paid dividends more than we'll give him credit for, maybe less. Jordan, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, I think that, look, 73% of you think Max Verstappen will win the championship. Of 330 of you have voted. I'll leave that poll up. 27% of you are saying Lando Norris. For me, it was Singapore. Everything like that should have been an absolute howler, right? For Red Bull. given where they are right now and the yes, they struggled last year at Singapore, and yes, it's 12 months later, and you think Red Bull would have learned somewhat, okay, but fundamentally still, that was a track that should have gone badly for them, and the Max converted a P2 and put it P2 in qualifying and maximised that weekend. That is the race that won him the championship for me, because, if that's what Max and Red Bull can do at a track like Singapore, where everything should be against them, in theory, then he'll be fine. He'll win it. Absolutely, he'll win it. But, look, I hope Lando takes it to the final race. Because even the biggest Max Verstappen fan out there, I guarantee you will enjoy it more if it goes right to the end and Max just wins it, versus Max winning it with like 3 races to go. Come on. That just, it feels more, It's like anything. It's not just winning, it's how you win that brings the vibes, okay? But we'll see. We will see about that. Right, let's have a little reflect on the driver standings then, shall we? I've had a little change up of the graphics just to make it a little bit more clear. I always like to mess around with the graphics when we get late on in the season, and I'll give them a refresh going into next year. But after 18 of 24 race weekends, so far this year, Max 331 points, Lando 279. I've added Liam Lawson in there, messing up my graphics once again. That is also, to be fair, that's the main reason I changed it, because I needed to add a 23rd driver in. We've had Lawson, Sargent, Colapinto, all additional, and Behrman, of course, additional drivers to add, okay? And, yeah, we'll see how he does. I'm excited to see Liam in the car. I think he absolutely merits the call-up. I think Liam's adaptability, rapid in DTM, rapid in Super Formula, rapid in everything he's driven. He's not won loads of championships, but he's always been up there. And I think that is the vibe, I think that's the one. That's what makes most sense to me. I think he'll do a very good job, in my opinion, will Mr. Liam of Lawson. Oscar's only 8 points beyond Charles, so that could get a bit interesting. But realistically, the only driver standing that matters is that number 1, where Max has his 52-point gap to Lando Norris. We'll see. Look, 3 sprints, 6 Grand Prix, plenty of points on offer. Actually, could well go to the line. But the team standings, that's a little bit more. Look, I think Max is going to win it. I don't think Lando's going to. I think he'll probably get it done with like a race to go. If I had to put money on it personally, I think he'll get it done prior to Abu Dhabi, in my opinion. But we'll see. I'm all for the excitement of an Abu Dhabi showdown, right? I'm all for it. Team standings, though, that's definitely more interesting. Will Ferrari catch Red Bull? Only 34 points behind. That seems to be the most likely course of action. Imagine Max winning the championship and the team only finishing 3rd in the Constructors. That is a pretty damning indictment of Checo. And Checo's got 6 races to, save his career at Red Bull Racing. He's not interested in racing anywhere else. I firmly believe that. If they drop him, I think we'll see him fall out of F1 entirely. And look, did he go well round Austin last year? Hang on, I've got the Wikipedia up here. So Checo was 9th in qualifying and he was 7th in the sprint shootout last year, whereas Max should have been on pole for both, but for the track limit violation in quali. And even with that, he's still out-qualified Checo in normal qualifying. So, I'm not full of confidence for Checo around this circuit. Not going to lie. Not going to lie. Right. Poll, you've gone 72% Max. 513 of you have voted. 72% of you think Max is going to win it. 28% Lando. But you know what? I respect the belief, okay? I respect the belief, and I hope it goes down to the end. Like I said. Right, cool, excellent. Predictions time. Shall we predict what is going to go on this weekend? Now, I am also planning on doing a post-sprint live stream, Chinwag, to go over what happened in the sprint shootout, the sprint shootout, the sprint race, and kind of touch on qualifying and going into Sunday. Just so you know, that's the plan anyway. We'll see if that happens or not, because it's quite a late race, so I'll probably be at like midnight or something like that. But it's fun. It's all good. But who's going to win it all? Who's going to win them? And we're talking main race here, okay? I've not got time. Let's do predictions for sprint. Like, come on, no, don't be silly. My race winner this weekend in Texas, because all my exes live in Texas. Great song. Is Lando Norris. I think that McLaren looks the most complete car. I think Lando is quicker than Oscar right now, and he drove very well in Singapore. I think he ran pretty well in Austin last year, actually, pretty well. And yeah, Chrome McLaren as well. I'm going Lando, race win. That's my opinion. But what about yours? Well, 1,373 of you voted. Thank you for voting on YouTube community. So make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel to see the community posts, or follow me on Twitter at TOMMO'S, okay, if you want to engage over there. Your race winner is Lando Norris with 41% of the vote, 23% to Max Verstappen, 13% to Oscar Piastri, and 11% Charles Leclerc. The trophies are also awful, so I hope he wins. Yeah, they've got some fancy trophies. I actually think they're quite cool, MGT. I'm not going to lie. They remind me of, what are they? I'll find a picture later. The trophies are like what are they called? Brick something? Cause? Is it cause? They're like the bunnies that stand up and they're like models. Like, not... that sounds weird. They're like figures. Like figurines. Bear brick. That sounds like it. Yeah. They're like them. But they're not. But they're like them. Thank you, chat. See, I've got you here to just help me out whenever I need you. Yeah. So race winner, you've gone Lando. I've also gone Lando. I think it's looking good for him this weekend. Banger drive for me. I'm going Liam. I think Liam will do. Look, again, this is including the context of this being his first race in this car this season. He did do 5 races in this car last year. He's not coming in completely blind. And I think he'll drive very well. I think given he will have a penalty, I think he'll move forward. I think he'll have a good race. I do. I'm on the Lawson hype train. I believe he has the potential, the ability to succeed and do well. And I think, look, Franco Colapinto kind of coming in and doing what he's done, if anything, just shows us that, you know what, actually, just looking at the F2 Wikipedia page and being like, well, that guy's higher up, so that means they're quicker than everyone else. Like, okay, there's a lot of context to that, and I think, you know, some teams have excelled over the years, not even just with these new F2 cars for this year. Just over the years, some teams have just always done, like a Prima, historically before this year anyway, has always done better than a Trident, for example. So, you know, I think that plays into it. I think that being able to drive an F1 car and an F2 car, there are nuances, they're different. Liam was rapid in Super Formula, he was decent in F2. Rapid in DTM, again, I think that skill set is going to serve him very well in Formula 1. His adaptability, I think, really is going to... These current ground effect cars, where you want them as level as possible, you're minimising that pitching that you used to get in the old cars with the high rake, low rake, you know, options that you had available to you. It requires a certain style. A style that never really suited Daniel Ricciardo. A style that I don't think ever really suited Sebastian Vettel either. But I think the best drivers, your Alonsos, your Hamiltons, your Verstappens, you know, these guys adapt cross regulations, cross generations. I think the fact that Lewis and Fernando are still rapid in these cars, given how many different types of F1 cars they've driven, is incredibly impressive. And I mean, obviously, especially Fernando, given what he started in, was it 2001? Was Fernando's first year? So was 6 years before Lewis? So obviously Lewis was 7, and I'm sure someone in chat will let me know. I think it was them, wasn't it? 2001 or maybe 2002. I think it was 2001 in Minardi, wasn't it? Yeah. So for Fernando to have been as good as he has always been in all these different types of F1 car, yeah, I mean, the longer he goes on, the more he creeps into my, like, is he actually the greatest of all time? Honestly. Oh, we had 2002 off. Oh, yeah, it's kind of weird with Minardi back in the day, wasn't it? Anyway, I digress. Right. My banger drive, Liam Lawson. Your banger drive, Lewis Hamilton. 17% of the vote. Tied with Liam Lawson, but he had a few more votes. So both on 17%, but Lewis did have a few more votes. So Lewis gets your banger driver prediction ahead of Liam Lawson. 12% Charles Leclerc. 12% Max Verstappen. I hope Charles goes well round here. I want to see another Charles win. Charles a good guy. He gives me good energy. What about Clanger though? Who's going to stink up the place? Well, my prediction, I kind of alluded to it earlier. Checo didn't go well round here last year. I don't think he'll go well round here this year. Unfortunately, I feel like any update is gonna. Look, it could go either way in terms of if an update helps him out or hinders him relative to Max. But this kind of track is not playing to Checo's strengths, like in a Red Bull anyway. I see this being a really difficult weekend for Checo, to be honest. As well as the increased pressure and scrutiny of Lawson clearly driving for a Red Bull seat next year. I think it's not going to be good. Also, we've had 3 weeks off, and you look at over the course of the season, Checo's been a pretty safe bet for Clanger. It's just the truth, isn't it? Like, sorry, Checo, but that's just the way it is. So yeah, I've gone Checo Clanger. You've gone Checo Clanger as well. So 18% of you went Checo, 13% Lando Norris, 11% Lance Stroll, 7% Max Verstappen. So there's a lot of Lando and Max votes actually in Clanger, which is interesting. Yeah, look, I think there's going to be a role to play from the others, from the Mercedes boys, from Carlos, from Charles, from Oscar, and maybe from Checo. The odd race where he decides to turn up, maybe Vegas. I think he could be pretty good in Vegas. He could maybe play a factor. Yeah, look, I hope it's not the case, but that's just, you got to make a prediction, ain't you? You got to go off something. Right. Banger team. I almost forgot what the next category was there. Banger team. Who's going to turn up with the sauce this weekend? I've gone for Haas USA. Haas USA livery this weekend, which we will get into after I've got through this. There's a few special edition liveries, and we'll get your thoughts and feelings as well in the poll on that one. I've gone Haas. I think Haas have been running well as of late. I think I could see Hulkenberg Q3 bringing in some decent points. I think they've got good momentum. A lot of it's going to be this 3-week break has been a break for us fans, but it's not been a break for the teams. It's not like the summer break where they're not literally, the teams are locked down. They're not allowed to work. These teams can work to their heart's content in this 3-week break and try and bring an upgrade, or at least try and improve their understanding of their pre-existing package. And we know Haas aren't one to bring loads of upgrades, but really just kind of understand what they have as much as they possibly can. And I'm feeling good about Haas this weekend. And yes, of course, Haas's technical partnership, which I would have covered the whole Toyota Gazoo Racing partnering up with Haas thing, but I was on holiday. Me and Hannah and Minton went to Cornwall. Beautiful place. Would really recommend Foy, but it's spelled Fowey. Stunning. It's the place where we actually stayed at the place that is, if you remember, it might age me a bit this. Wind in the Willows. Does anyone remember Wind in the Willows? The children's books. I remember as a kid. I remember Wind in the Willows. And the Toad Hall was based off of this place that we stayed. It's sick. But yeah, anyway, I digress. How did I get even onto this? Oh yeah, Haas Toyota. Haas Toyota is sick. It's really cool. They're going to help them build like a wind tunnel and improve their facilities, which is great. Maybe this is, an eventual passing of the team to Toyota in the future. If Gene decides, he's had his fun and he wants to get out. Tom, I'm 17, not 30. Fair, Liam. Fair. Okay, fair. But yeah, it's I'm really good about Haas. Really good about it. Obviously, especially in the hands of Nico Hulkenberg. But K-Mag can always pull out a worldie just out of nowhere sometimes. So don't look past K-Mag too much. Tim, you've not missed the livery chat. Don't you worry. We will get onto the livery chat soon. Okay, very soon. Also, thank you, Skipper. Tommo, Linktree before GTA 6. I don't really know what you mean by that. I feel like I should know what you mean by that. I know what Linktree is, but anyway. Banger team for you lot is McLaren. 33% of the vote. I'm not aware of that meme, I'm afraid. I have my memes that I like, and I don't really know anymore. 33% McLaren, 16% Ferrari, 16% Mercedes, 13% Red Bull. Mercedes is such a given Lewis's performance last year, you'd think, oh yeah, maybe, but Mercedes are just like, they seem to be onto something, and now they're not, and it's like they're still all over the place at the minute. It's a bit of a mess. Oh no, I know the GTA 6 meme. I just don't know the Linktree part of it. Anyway, sorry. You think McLaren is going to have a banger, okay? I wouldn't be surprised. And then finally, Clanger Team. My prediction for Clanger Team is Sauber, because of course it is, and yours is Sauber because of course it is. 21% of you went Sauber. It's just the safe pick, okay? It's just the safe, boring pick that we are both picking, okay? It's just what we do. It's just what we do, okay? It's just what we do. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Violet Citizen. Yep, okay. Okay, yeah, I'm not... Patreon is clear of OF as far as I'm concerned. Ha ha ha. 16% Red Bull for Clanger, 13% Alpine, 12% Aston Martin. So yeah, I think, Red Bull, it's really difficult to say. They're bringing this upgrade, or update, should I say. And I think that update is going to be important. It's going to be pivotal in as to whether Max wins the championship. And they've only got one FP1 session to get on top of it. Almost part of me is like, do they just treat this whole weekend like a test weekend just to make sure, even if they have to leave a little bit on the table this weekend in Austin, but just make sure they really fully understand this upgrade. So then, for the remaining 5 races, even if they lose points to Lando now, they've, put themselves in a better position for the remaining 5 Grand Prix and the remaining 2 sprints after this weekend, But we'll see. Like you say, Bengen, Lando engine failure during Q. Engine failure, could happen at any point. You're saying during Q2, if it happens, we know that Bengen is from the future. But that's all it takes, one DNF either way. And all of a sudden, even if there's a 25-point swing in favour of Lando because Max has a DNF, for example, that puts the gap at 37 points, which then just momentum-wise, and that feels, sounds silly, but 37 feels a lot smaller than 52. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Do I know what I mean? Probably not. Anyway, yeah, I'm here for the hype as well, Tommy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think Carlos will win another race this year? Davis, I'd love it. I'd love it. P3, yeah? Sorry, I found a, when you find a reel that just makes you, it's like Show and Carlos talking about that lad. It was like, P3, yeah? To Carlos. Oh, it's good. It's a good meme. That's a good one. I enjoy it. Right, so those are your predictions anyway. Lando win, Lewis banger, Checo Clanger, McLaren Banger, Sauber Clanger. Mine, Lando Win, Liam Banger, Checo Clanger, Haas Banger, Sauber Clanger. Bosh. Why only P3? Oh, dearie me. We have fun, didn't we? Right, okay, cool. Predictions done. Lovely, jubbly. Let's actually have a quick go through team by team. And actually, we'll start with Alpine because they have a new livery. Now, of course, with the investment that's come from Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney and Michael B. Jordan and all these, is it like, was it Taylor Swift's boyfriend and Travis Kelce, whatever his name is. I don't watch American football, sorry. And who else? Is Rory McIlroy? I'm sure Rory McIlroy is involved, isn't he? Trent's in it as well. But either way, they've kind of they've got another movie edition. They had the Deadpool one, didn't they? Earlier on in the year, and now they have a Indiana Jones livery, which is look, I'll show you some pictures. Right, so it's basically papaya. Okay, they're trying to channel their inner McLaren. Okay, they're trying to be McLaren. Right, let's get some polls going then. So, what do you think of Alpine livery? I'm just gonna I wish I could do these options quicker. Right, so banger, small bang, mild clang or clanger. Apologies to any audio only listeners, but I'm just gonna have to deal with not being aware of what you can look it up. I'm sure you can find a picture of the orange Indiana Jones Alpine yourself. It's basically the same car, just a bit orange in it. That really, which is fine. Still got the BWT. You got some interesting kind of ripped bits here. I mean, Alpine certainly aren't worried about saving weight, are they? Because we know Red Bull parked their fan livery thing because they were like, oh no, it's going to be too heavy. And obviously Red Bull are, backs against the wall trying to win this title now. So, because they're not going to win the constructors, so the drivers is all they've got really left to fight for now. But yeah, so Alpine haven't got as much they do have something to lose, to be fair. But then, I mean, I think, the money, the commercial marketing of this, they might lose out on, they might drop a position in the constructors, but it's not the end of the world to them because this is more valuable because they've sold the team off and, these other parties, surely, come on, this all points to me that they're going to sell the team. Surely they're going to sell the team eventually. And as George says, painting your car orange won't make it as fast as McLaren. It's called papaya, George. They will tell you off if you don't call it papaya. Got to call it papaya. Always call it papaya. Always call it papaya. What do you think? 274 of you voted. 8% banger, 38% small bang, 32% mild clang, 22% clanger. For me, it is... Well, look, when you have liveries like this, it's when it's such a departure, because it's just a complete different colour, basically. That's what it is. It kind of loses any identity, doesn't it? And again, that's where, if they're going to keep doing this, then being Renault Alpine, whatever, it doesn't really matter because they just become, this almost kind of generic team that you just have a different livery each weekend to promote some other movie or whatever. I mean, for me, it's a mild clang. I don't hate it, but I don't really like it. So I'm going mild. I'm with the 33% who've said mild clang for this Alpine. Okay, cool. That's Alpine done. Next, we have Haas. Haas. Now, Haas have gone USA, which is not the first time and certainly won't be the last they've gone full USA. But I'll tell you what, this is the wrong overlay. This is, well, let me know what you think. Let me get the next poll up. Actually, I should have done that beforehand. So you've you kind of don't mind it, but you're a bit meh about the Alpine. Haas livery. Right, and do the same. I wish I could just... is it banger? Is it a clanger? Is it mild bang or is it small clang? Let me know what you think. So again, same fundamental base, but they've added a bit of the US Eagle. Now that Sargent's left, I guess Haas have got to pick up that that meme where it was kind of laid off, isn't it? It is very freedom. The front wing is very very bold. Still, obviously, a lot of black on the car. It is a shame, isn't it? When you look at this, like, okay, spoiler alert, I kind of like it. I don't love it. And I think, you know, for me, for this to be a banger, and 37% of you think banger, so wow, 51% mild bang, 10% small clang, 2% clanger. For this to be a banger, it's one of them where, you know, they're clearly restricted by the amount of carbon fibre because so much of this car is still just exposed carbon. If they could do this livery, but completely do it, where it's like got a bunch more white on it, like even just adding more white and then a little bit more blue and red, only a little bit more, I just think it still feels held back by the limitations of the whole paint stuff and, you know, getting these these are billboards first and foremost, right? And I don't think it does as good a job as it could as a billboard. But we'll see. Hopefully it changes next year. Hopefully there's I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but hopefully there's something to make these cars a little bit more bright and bold and interesting to look at. Because, you know, when you look back at the Benetton livery or the Cannon Williams or the Marlboro McLaren or whatever, these cars were bright and really like iconic to look at. And I just feel like we're missing that as of late. So yeah, for me, this is a mild bang. It had potential for banger, but not quite. And that's a bit strong for me, in my opinion. And yeah, most at 51% mild bang, 34% banger. So what, 85% of you have a positive sentiment towards this livery. Lovely jubbly. I would add a fifth option, but YouTube won't let me, I'm afraid. Cool. And then final special edition livery, we have McLaren. Okay, so McLaren have done something that, you know what, I think when McLaren did their chrome livery last year, it was okay, but it wasn't quite there. It was a bit of a disappointment, I think, to most people anyway. However, now they've done it again, and I think they've done it properly. So they've actually, it's the same base livery, but then they've just put the chrome here, the chrome on the back. This is actually not a great picture, is it? Let me try and find some actual decent pictures. Oh, they've got this little video here. So, oh my God, that's loud. Fortunately, I didn't have the desktop audio turned on. So you got like a bunch of chrome. So you got chrome along here, which is cool. This is good. They've just got more of it. They just didn't have enough of it last time out. Least effort I've seen. Yeah, but you know what, Stella? The thing is, right? There are restrictions to how much you can change these liveries. And so McLaren have built like a base livery. And kind of you could say Alpine have done something similar as well. And there's the kind of, they're in full show. And yeah, of course, it works with Google Chrome, doesn't it? Like perfectly. That's like a match made in heaven in terms of that combo. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Let's get the final poll up. McLaren livery. Is it a banger? Is it a clanger? Is it a small bang or is it a mild clang? Start poll. Let me know what you think of the McLaren. There's a bit of a bigger picture for you. So again, it's the same base livery, but it's just a lot more of it's chromed out than last year's car. I feel like last year was... This is what last year's car should have been, in my opinion. Okay, as far as I see it. I wish they'd just released a bunch of like high quality renders. Maybe they did, and I've just not seen them. But yeah, you got a bunch of shiny chrome going on here. So, well done McLaren for that. At least they've given up. I think they saw the kind of tepid response to the car last year, and we're like, okay, we'll do it properly this year. Then go on then. We'll do it properly this year for you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, boys and girls. Okay, what do you think? What's your vote, Sam? What's your vote? 52% banger, 35% small band. So again, about 85% of you have a positive outlook on the McLaren, but more banger. Over half of you think it's a banger, and I agree. I think it's a banger. I think they've nailed it. I would love them to just stick with this livery for like the next few years or something. Just build that. Again, the Marlboro McLaren became iconic because they kept using the same livery year after year after year. The Red Bull has kind of become iconic because they keep using the same liveries year after year after year after year. You know what I mean? So yeah, for me, it's a banger, and for you agree as well. Right, okay. I'd say we're done. Thank you all for joining. I guess I'm going to finish this now by saying that yes, my Patreon is live, and I'm going to do my first Patreon exclusive live stream. I've kind of scheduled it for 1 o'clock, so in about 15 minutes. Yeah, if you want to support what I do, you can do on Patreon. That would be much appreciated. And I'm going to do some Patreon exclusive live streams after every Chinwag. So, this one will be like 15. I might push it back a little bit after this one. And then I'm going to do one on Saturday as well after the sprint. And then I'll do one on Sunday after the race. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the sprints long term, because I'm going to do one here on YouTube after the race. We'll see. I don't know if I want to kind of tie myself into doing one every Saturday after the sprints, but maybe. But either way, whenever I do a Chinwag, I will always do a Patreon exclusive one after, if that makes sense. Okay, so we can have a little chat on there if you want to come over. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for taking your time out of your day to support and watch what I do. Okay, because just by watching, that is more support than you ever need to give. So thank you very much. I appreciate it as always. Thank you, Stella, Kay, Jack, Charmander, Rachel, Tom, Liam, Violet, Christopher, NK, Alexander, Vance, Priest, Olivine, John, IBK, Jerome, Daniel, Valex, Jake, Zubair, Dawood, Gina, Jaromir, Tom, Bernie, Sugar, Ray, Jerome, Sire. Thank you all for watching. My name's Tommo. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.